All right, D. So you talked about, and we both talked about this in the past, how the dating game is rigged in the modern world. This has really been exposed now with a lot of social media, a lot of dating apps. We know how it is now. When did you realize that it's not just about confidence? It's not just about taking care of yourself and going out there and approaching? How did you figure out that, wait a minute, there's a few more layers going on here?
So there's something called red pill, which is, I just say, just be confident, bro. It's women's nature, bro. I bought into that shit so much. I lied to myself. Oh, race don't matter. Height don't matter. And for years, I'm just like, yo, why when I go out with my friend, specifically, white guys or black guys or somebody who's tall, I would notice so many times, and I could tell you multiple interactions, what I've seen with my own two eyes. We can open or speak to the same girl. She'll treat me like shit. But if she has a racial preference for white dudes, literally, and I've seen it, average white guys, they don't even have to be attractive. Like I said, balding, short, or not as attractive, just fawning over, and they would like spam text them, oh, when can we go out? Thank you so much for approaching me. I want to go on a date. I hope we can meet up. And that's called something called the halo effect. When hypergamy takes place and her desires for reproduction just like skyrocketed. And the halo effect is basically, it don't matter. Like, dude, there's a joke in the community, if you're a Starbucks tummy, which is true. It's basically a broke white dude working some retail job or coffee job who lives in Brooklyn with like a couple of roommates, literally has a rotation of endless minority girls.
Always.
And she brainwashes herself, saying like, oh, it's okay. He white, it's cool. It don't matter. Whatever negative shit you have, it don't matter. I will see this time and time again. And then I will get judged. I will get talked down too. I'm like, what the hell? So why are they getting such a leeway? And I'm not, same thing with my black friend. One of my black friends that lived in Harlem. Really respectful guy. I love this dude. So, and he would tell me honestly, he's like, you know what, I understand. And he admitted it to me too. He's like, I'm a black fetish. They like BBC.
Yeah.
This guy had a rotation of like 5 or 6 white girls that would fight for his time and take him out to eat. I never got that. I had to earn everything over hard work.
Yeah.
And I've seen it with my own eyes where girls literally run direct game. Go to like the idea in the man, I'm gonna fuck this guy. Like, go to their place, go to see him. They would show me, like, it's hard to see. I'm stuttering right now because like the PTSD is kicking in my head because I suppress all these memories because I didn't want to believe it. Like, they would show me endless amount of texts running like basic game, and they would just chase, or their dating apps matches, and I'm just like, wow, race archetype matters because of whatever the media dictates to be attractive and brainwashing. So basically, where you fall on or what you can look as can determine what kind of reception and frame you're gonna get,
and treatment and investment. And that's the thing where it gets disturbing to the point that we have to talk about it, and we have to, because people are going to blame themselves. And if you don't know and you don't understand, like, you're getting ghosted a lot and that sort of thing, you're getting bad treatment, and you blame yourself, that's only going to take your mind in some dark waters, because there's a lot going on here. So I'm going to answer the same question just real quick and highlight how, like, I could see how I worked out that there was a lot more going on, and that race, looks, archetype, all of that was really, really important. When I started going out like 18, 19, I saw how my black friends, my white friends were just treated very, very differently versus when, again, I'm in a 6'5" brown guy, look very generic. I've got like a very Indian looking face, so on and so forth. So that doesn't help me at all. That makes it quite hard. And I would experience like racism, I would experience stupid stuff. But the thing is how they were treating me so differently from how they were treating my friends. They didn't take me seriously at all, any respect for me at all. Whenever I tried to talk to a girl, their friends would just rip them away. Then I got a bit confused about that. I was only an 18-year-old, 19-year-old boy. When I went away to university, and it continued, and it was just not, like, we're not talking about clubs at this point. We're talking about going to class. Things like that started to get quite disturbing. So I remember, like, my first week at university, I sat down, first week, no one knows each other yet, in the lecture theatre, right, to study, to be in class. And I recall, like, I just sat down because there was a gal who was in my halls of residence, right? So she was living in the same area, literally like a few doors down. Said, hey, how's it going? And she must have been sitting with a bunch of other girls who didn't know who the fuck I was or whatever else. And I remember them saying like, oh no, we've got a pervert sitting next to us. And I remember even like this girl was like laughing along with it, right? And I remember so many times in my life, like, people who didn't know me, who had no idea who I was, who I hadn't said 2 words to, would complain about, oh no, there's a pervert here or something like that, right? And I realized it was because I'm an Indian guy. Like, I'd be called that a lot.
Let them know about negative halo. They need to understand that, because they're gonna think that me and you are just like, this is a very touchy episode.
It is.
We don't want them to think that we're victim blaming, but we're just trying to let them know the reality that if you're a certain race or certain look, you have an advantage. You'll have a good halo, or if you have a bad halo. If you have a good halo, it don't matter how shitty your life is, how fat, how busted you are, whatever. You could be a criminal and she'll love you. If you have a bad halo, just like, you know, me and Rav, you know, as ethnical men, even though I am, you know, African and Asian, but I'm also mixed with like a little bit of brown. So, you know, I'm ambiguous. But if she, you know, she thinks I'm like, you know, I call it ethnic just to keep it short. If I get treated like as a Middle Eastern or a, and it's sad. I hate talking about this.
Yeah, I don't
know.
know.
If she thinks I'm Spanish, I'm good. If she thinks I'm like black, I'm good. But which you know, like girl, I got Asian. I have part black. But like, why when the minute you see like you think Middle Eastern, Indian, and Paki or Arab, you treat me like shit?
Yep.
And even though the same people, I met many Middle Easterns who look white, get treated different.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. They need to clarify and understand what it means. Negative halo.
Yeah.
And positive halo with the brainwashing.
Yeah. So negative halo means that like there's you know, when you're in society, when people are growing up, when people are in their family unit and whatnot, certainly sitting here in England, right? People would have grown up thinking, oh, these fucking Browns or whatever are coming in our country or whatever, and the very xenophobic attitudes. Then English people are just whining people. They're like quite a negative, pessimistic population. I'm 34. Every year of my life they've been whining. Okay, they've always done it. And that's just the culture here. So you don't have to live in places like this. You get abroad, which is what I do. But what it creates when like, you know, when you're in a social situation where like girls are like, I remember like growing up and going to school and girls talk about, like, I'm just listening to their conversations. They're like, oh, a guy talked to me. He asked me out. And the guy's like, their friend's like, oh, did you say yeah? She's like, no, he was Indian. Like, that's having an impact on people. And that happening again and again, it creates a hierarchy, right? And that's what leads to negative halo effect. And when you're under negative halo, you'll know. Because if this keeps happening, it's because your archetype and what you're triggering in them psychologically is them saying, no, that's a lower person. I need to get away, right? And you can get around it to a significant extent with real fucking unshakable, immovable confidence, right? And just being raw and really masculine. But again, like the position we take is you need to max out a lot. If it's building an elite physique, if it's getting a whole image restyle, yeah, so be it. But it's a real thing. And why it's really important, even if it sounds negative, remember, I got all this shit. I still closed a bunch, right? I've still been with beautiful women. I've had like good experiences, and I'm going to keep going ahead and keep having more and more success. So it's never an excuse, and you need to still love yourself anyway, regardless. Because this shit, yeah, by going through the negative halo effect experience, we effectively get taught and conditioned that we're less. But it ain't true. And there's a part of us that's got savage drive and determination and will persist and succeed. And it's that beautiful part of us that we need to really nurture here, yeah? The part of us that just ain't gonna quit. That's a great thing, and that's what makes men great, right? So building on that, right, on the aspect of like hypergamy, negative halo, all that type of things that are going on psychologically, when did like the realization of hypergamy hit you the hardest? Like, can you share us a moment that you never forget and like why it changed your mind when it came to this whole game?
Just like multiple experiences, I could tell you, like, I remember like when brown women would see me as like a confident, you know, attractive guy who better himself, they would look at me with disgust and hate, or like they'll flaunt, like if she's walking with a white dude, she'll flaunt him and be like, hey, look what I got.
I noticed that, yeah.
Just the pure hatred that they have for their own race. Or I remember one time I wanted to go to Dig In to get a chicken salad bowl. A brown girl saw me and literally got up and moved because she didn't want a brown guy sitting next to her. And this also happened on the train. I could tell you so many times. Many times at a nightclub, I had a girl who was attracted to me going and have a fun that girls would literally rip her from my hand like I was some violent kidnapper or some creep. And then my white friend, I've seen it and I've heard it, and I'm like, bro, where you going? Oh, she's gonna go tell her friends that she's coming home with me. They'll literally push her friend to go sleep with him, and I'm just like, yo. So it's like, dude,
so many times,
dude. I remember also I went on a date with a brown girl, and she literally, I was like, yeah, my boyfriend was from West Village and this girl lived in Queens, and she would literally travel 2 hours, and meanwhile I would have to like overcome so much objections. It's just like I would have to jump through so many hurdles just because when you don't have that luck of the draw of just being something else. And this was during it's gotten worse too. But now, like, you know, like I said, if you're white or black, you're good. Asians now, you're good, because after TikTok, I said Asians are now like, I'm seeing it, you guys are killing it.
Yeah, they're fine.
If you're ethnic, if you're literally ethnic, you're gonna have some trouble.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes it depends on also like the Asian guy too. If you're not like a twinkie, feminine looking Asian, you're gonna have some struggles. Everything plays up. That's what I'm saying. I try to make people realize like we're not trying to victimize.
No.
What you look like or what you can look like plays a role, whether you like it or not. And you have to learn how to adapt and survive. Like I've seen multiple stuff of like my friends, like my white friends, literally tell me, "Oh, I don't put any effort into the date, and she just sleeps with me because I'm white." Or she just comes over, and I'm just like, "Yo, what the hell, bro? I'm taking care of my mother, my family. I'm trying to get a better job, and yet the only thing she sees in her eye is ethnic, ethnic, ethnic." So it's just like you see, talking about this re-triggers PTSD, and I get emotional, even though I'm a very grounded man because I suppressed and I moved past it. But it's just like it's a wound that you gotta learn how to deal with.
Yeah, that's why the men's group experience is important. Like we all need to be talking about this. Of course, we got a men's group, and all of us are going deep into our wounds and our healing and recovery. And I can tell you, like before we were doing CMU, like, dude, it was hard for me. You know what I mean? Just to survive this stuff. And of course, like since we've been able to make a lot of recovery and see a lot of other men make a lot of recovery and see people get real transformations and results, this is why we have to have these conversations. And we can't blame women. It's just their nature. We can't blame anyone else external. Like we are who we are. We have to love ourselves.
Right.
We have to rise to the best version of ourselves. But the thing is, if you don't listen to people, you don't let them speak, you push them into destruction, right? So you know my example of what happened with me, right? Is going to like guys who didn't really understand, who the good guys, they tried to help, right? They really did. They're actually beautiful people, got no beef with them, but they were they were like, well, yeah, just go on a date and just, ask her to come back. It works for me. White guys, right? So the society's just different for white guys. Women they just trust them. They just have a certain perception of them that is not going to happen if you're a lower SMV person. Why do you think so many of these fucking serial killers are like white dudes? Because they can target women because women just trust them. They can't wrap their mind around these sorts of people having not good intentions. It's just disturbing, man. You can get into some shit, and like I can think about really good looking minorities, like even guys like my brother, right, who are walking with really attractive women, and these women are turning around and checking out the most mid-average. My brother's not a guy in this community. He ain't got a freaking clue, but he will tell me that they're checking out a fucking fat, balding, old white guy who's like about a 2 out of 10. And he couldn't believe that he's had his mind shattered by some of these things himself. So it's a real thing. And of course, we've got nothing but acceptance and love for the white men who have their own dating struggles, because they do. They really do. We don't diminish that. But for everyone else, we just need to have an honest conversation, so we can actually pinpoint the specific problems different guys have got, and then put a plan together to take them on the other side of that, right? Because of course, loads of white guys are suffering also.
Yeah, let me pinpoint on that so they don't think that we're just like hating the white guys.
No.
Because some of my best friends are white. Is that like it's because they have the most privilege when it comes to sexual market value and dating, unlimited options. Mm-hmm. And I've coached many white dudes, as I said in the previous video. They start, getting a lot of girls and a lot of leads, and then they start to wake up and be like, does she really like me for me? Mm-hmm. So the thing is that when you're like, white, black, or Asian, and she likes you for a certain thing, if she likes anime or K-pop, or she likes BBC or hip hop, or she likes white to see as a provider, it starts to kill you, because then you realize like, damn, what about who I am? What about my character, my personality? So those are the problems that they have to deal with, is making her look past the fetishization, making her look past the transactional. That's where game and masculinity and leadership needs to come in. And then if you're ethnic or low SMV, then you'll have our kind of problems.
A lot of different ones, yeah. But, again, have to have the conversations, have to be real and raw.
Right.
The rainbow, again, look what happened with me. People just like, just go do it. And it was like 50, 60 dates going nowhere. And all it does when you're not being honest with people is they blame themselves, dude. And they have sleepless night and they lose their fucking mind. But if you're truly honest, like, this is why this is happening, and then this is what you need to do about it, and you improve your social skills, you get better with people, you shift your vibe, and you just work harder, improve yourself more, you can get outcomes, but you're going to have to fight like a dog. But if you work hard and keep going, you'll make things happen. And is it not a glorious thing to do it on the basis of your own effort? Of course it is. So, that's the way I kind of see it. But that being said, when we look at some of the adaptations that you had to do in the past to kind of like survive, you talked about in the past how you had to wear a do-rag, to switch up your style in order to just hang in there in the dating market. What did that reveal for you about some of the world's unspoken rules?
I got treated differently because I was able to tap into my black side, and it just killed me. So it's like, you know how I'm talking to you normal now? Back in the day, I'll go up, be like, yo, what's up? What you doing? What's up? Yeah, my name D. And literally just melt. Oh my God. Hey, you Dominican, you black, what's good? And I'm just like, yo, what the? You literally telling me just by like acting a different way, just to remove my ethnic frame and look a little bit more exotic, you know. Yeah, exactly. Remove a little bit more of my ethnical issues to become more exotic. You're treating me different, and that killed me, man. I was depressed. I cried. I became suicidal because then I'm just like, yo, what's the point, man? And I wanted to, you know, quote unquote, as much as we joke about be yourself. We say being yourself when you're weak does not make sense, but now I'm myself. I'm myself. I be myself because I'm the strongest version of myself, the most attractive version of myself, the most dominant version of myself, the most lion, the most beastful, the most making the most money of myself, which works now because I worked on myself to become this product of a masculine leader of a man, which attracts, you know, people off my energy. But being yourself in the beginning when you didn't put in the work is just stupid.
And again, the biggest thing about quote unquote being yourself when you haven't really changed yourself and looked at yourself properly, deeply, and gotten to the nitty gritty of what's going on with you, the problem is like there's so many things that are within you that are going to have an impact in your life, right? Traits, characteristics that are going to influence your outcomes. And the problem is that you could be white and black and you can just continuously get laid. You can have like hundreds of notch count, right? And you can actually, to some extent, just be yourself. I've always said that I feel like low-SMV men are the ones that really test the ideas in the space that work or don't. If it's true, if it's legit, if it's real, you can take a low-SMV guy and he'll prove it. And that's what we saw in Masculine Game, because it will continuously work. And then the problem there is then, right, if you've got people continuously pushing this message of just it's okay, you can just be who you are, embrace that. If someone doesn't like you, it's on them. There's a certain population that's going to be in dire problems if you tell them that, right? I was there. And that's why I got a problem with that. So it can't be the truth. The truth is exposed there. That's hypergamy. That privileged people can be themselves. The other people have to learn how to see themselves differently and push themselves professionally to get ahead and not allow people's limited thinking and society's concepts to keep them playing small. You don't self-segregate yourself. You don't keep yourself playing small because of someone else's opinion of you. You go out and you fucking take what's yours. End of story. So, you know, man, you've said previously that post-COVID, TikTok rewired dating a lot. What do you think that's like one thing the average guy, particularly men of color, don't realize has happened since the post-COVID TikTok era?
So are you saying like after COVID or before COVID?
After COVID, what do you think has been the shift, particularly for like average dudes and low-SMV dudes?
You're going to be screwed if you don't push yourself to become the best version of yourself and become masculine, because women now at their fingertips have thousands of leads of men from multiple dating apps. Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, and let's not forget OnlyFans. Average woman can get superstars, models, DMs into the IG, get flown out by rich guys. There's a simp epidemic of men that she don't need to be with like a masculine dude, where she can get a guy who could take her to like 5-star dates and dinners and just she'll give him sex once a month. So it's like you really, and the only thing you can do, what is your greatest ability since the dawn of time, since the dawn of Adam and Eve and the creation of mankind, is your masculinity, because women are hardwired biologically within their mind, whether they like to admit it or not, that they will function and open up to masculinity. And when a man has the ability to walk away and lead, this is why I tell men, especially those who are struggling, who are ethnic or low-SMV, that if you are masculine, someone's going to give you that chance, and someone's going to give you that chance to prove them wrong and respect you. So it's hard now, and like it's the effeminization of men, the destruction of masculinity. It's a very messed up, like, you know, dangerous era. Especially if you live in the West or you live in a liberal city like New York, where it's very progressive. You can get like doxxed, done for, if you don't have like a halo over your head to protect yourself, you know. So it's all about adapting and survival. That's how I'm able to survive in New York, which is the toughest city in the world for game. But you know, if I was to move somewhere like Miami or like somewhere overseas where I'm more perceived as exotic, because in Miami majority of the people there are like Spanish looking, like masculine looking face kind of guys, so my exotic value will go up. How I learned this is because instead of playing victim, I play to my strengths, and then I fix my weaknesses. So it's about it, like you said, it's a game of chess, how to understand how to win this.
Exactly. All right, so you understand it because you adapted. You just weren't willing to lose. Like, for whatever reason was within you, you simply refused to not have an excellent day in life, right? You saw it as very important, and you weren't willing to quit, so you went all the way for so many years. Now, you also were open-minded enough to do whatever it takes to succeed, right? Because you had that drive. However, there's many people in the world who aren't going to understand this, and that they're going to probably even dismiss some of the struggles that you talked about, that I talked about. One example that I know it was challenging for you was your own mother dismissing your struggles, in particular when it came to brown women. I want you to talk about how that moment like shifted your path.
It's just sad because, you know, coming from a mixed background of parents, my mom, you know, being Asian mixed and my dad being also African mixed, so I'm just a big a melting pot. They wanted me get in touch with my cultural background, and, you know, and I would tell them, like, my mom was in denial because she was overseas until she moved here. I said, Mom, brown women want nothing to do with me. She's like, oh, get an arranged marriage. I said, it just, you don't understand, I'm in New York. And I kept telling her, like, brown women just like white dudes. But now they started to like Asian guys because of K-pop, and they actually like black guys too. But I see it like sometimes on the low, I guess, because they don't want the stigma, because you know how like brown culture and brown parents are. No offense to my brothers, because, you know, I'm a BBC myself, mixed.
Of course.
But it's like they're willing to test and experiment, but when it comes to like a brown dude, they'll spit on your face.
That's the thing. Yeah, and it's so hard for people to understand this. And then I'll tell them, like, so for example, 4 years on the dating apps, not one brown match. Think about that. I'm open to everyone. You know, you could be whatever background, I don't give a crap. I approach everyone. Why is it that, you know, I was with you not too long ago. Why is it that when I approach a brown chick, they simply refuse to speak or literally cross the road, right? And that happens a lot. There are brown dudes who are more handsome than me, who have a different time. There are brown dudes who've got a different structure, probably less ethnic looking. I've got like quite tribal features.
Maybe we should touch on Bollywood, a Bollywood brown phenomenon that we recently came up like 2 years ago.
Their values improved. So there are brown guys who like, you know, got lighter skin tone than myself. They've got a better kind of look, right? Less ethnic features, and they do fine. They have some receptivity. They have some frame. The brown guys who don't have that, because we can't all be the Bollywood, right? And those are the ones who can tell you like the raw truth about how a lot of our challenges as brown guys, a lot of them are compounded by the fact that we have such little frame with brown women. Because I think most brown guys start off like only approaching brown women. I certainly did. I had no attraction to anyone else.
And then they moved to white girls.
I moved to like black girls. Actually, you believe it or not, right? I just loved them. I was so attracted to them. I just really found them so attractive. Like, I was watching hip hop so much, R&B all the time. I was brainwashed, right? And there weren't many black girls around, so it wasn't possible. There's literally no black women around when I was growing up. So it wasn't a possibility. I would have loved it, but it was what it was. So then eventually I opened up. I started to speak to white women, started to speak to Asian women. Of course, that went horribly. But as I grew up and matured and changed and went on my journey, certainly with yourself and whatnot, then I started to get some outcomes and results. And I'm grateful for like the women of other backgrounds that allowed me to have experiences and to experience like healing and growth. I'm really grateful for it, you know, and I got a certain amount of respect for that as well, that they looked past my low-SMV. They actually looked past it. And I think it's a bit of a wound that a lot of like brown guys will have, that it's for many of us who just don't have that Bollywood look, it's really fucking hard trying to get brown women, dude. And ain't that crazy? What do you think about that?
No, I agree with you. After my mom came to the States, she apologized. She's like, I'm so sorry for not believing you, because she would notice with her friends in the brown community that the brown community would ignore brown dudes unless he was like a doctor, 6 feet. You know, it's just like, that's the whole point of halo effect, is like, if you don't have enough frame, you got to come with more qualifications. But another guy who was just white for being white, take my daughter, go out for a marriage. And then, you know, my mom says sorry. So like, you know, it broke me a lot. And it's the same thing like for my Asian brothers too. I don't want to dismiss them. If you don't look like a K-pop or like feminine Asian, if you look like you came from the village, that's why I keep using the word ethnic. If you're just, because Ravi's ethnic, I'm ethnical mix, that you won't have that much frame. So, you know, I have some Asian dudes that look like very Asian, not K-poppy, and they suffer. They suffer. They suffer a lot. And they gotta put in the extra work.
But if you put in the extra work, you can make it happen. You know, anyone, dude, who's going to get themselves to 10% body fat, let's be transparent. When I was doing my boot camps and training with D, I was a lot leaner than this. I went on a year and a half long bulk, but I'm going to get to 10% again. Anyone who gets to 10% builds a lot of muscle, does fuck tons of approaches, becomes a G, right, really improves their vibe, is willing to take risks, is willing to just hustle his face off, is willing to do whatever it takes to change your style and image, you'll get results. Of course you will, but you have to do a lot of inner work as well. A lot of CMU is like rewiring your inner world. Huge amounts of inner work. Most of what I do now is inner work, right? Because if I didn't even do that, I would have never been able to speak about this stuff at all. And, you know, speaking about it's important. So, all that being said, then, right, most men do feel a lot of doom around this now, yeah? And I've certainly been there in the past many times myself. But what do you say to them to make them stop coping and start winning?
For the longest time, I hate myself. I was like, all right, I got tattoos. I became attractive. I had the girls. I'm getting some money now, but I'm still ethnic. So I'm still seen as like low value. And then I finally realized it's not my fault. I'm in New York City where the dating market is the most extreme, the most fake, the most hypergamistic, where she just wants freaking status. Unless you find a dime a dozen in the, you know, like when I found my partner.
Which you did.
You know, which I had to like see the qualifications that she had. That's what I'm saying. I'm in New York, so my experience is different. It's like it's the worst of the worst. So like outside, you can like, that's why I tell people, learn game, become attractive, become a leader, and then go somewhere where you're more respected and loved, and then you can make it work. But the only way to make it work is to accept the cards you've been dealt with. You know, I got a face that looks like a thug. I don't have long, pretty hair. I got, you know, I was balding and all that. You know, I was fat and ugly. I got some imperfections to me, but I made myself more attractive. Everyone can be more attractive. Everyone can go up a certain point in the SMV. You know, as I said before in my previous video, I had unattractive guys. I had a 5'3" Indian guy who was depressed, who literally started to like get results after he went out there and realized like masculinity can save you guys. If you just let it all go, block out the noise, and turn your weaknesses into strengths, you can make it. But if you just go there and cope and say, oh, it's over, I'm ethnic, oh, I don't look K-pop, you know, oh, I'm too brown, you know, or it's just same thing for like the whites and blacks. I'm just seeing like as a fetish. That's nothing more. Well, guess what? There's something internally in you that you have to fix, and then the results will come to you.
Yeah.
And you know, some people are gonna hate this, because I'm not trying to sell, oh, bro, you're amazing, bro. Oh, bro, you got that layup, bro? Wow. All right, pay me $5K. You're awesome. And then why do they come to me all broken with a big notch count, depressed? Because they didn't fix what was internal. It was all external.
It's like there's a certain percentage of the population, right? Like they're fucking sex addicts. They'll just keep getting the lays, and they won't stop, right? They'll never really stop and make themselves think like, what made me so insecure that I felt I needed to get all these women? What was I trying to prove? And I think the conclusion that many of us at a certain point just really need to like reach is like, is this making me fulfilled, and is it making me happy? And all the information that we've given, this can be used for your empowerment, because to become more patient, to go on a journey, to go on a multiple year journey for many people, to heal yourself, to recover, to transform yourself psychologically. These are only things that make you a better person. The world is not yet so insane that it won't reward a truly deserving person who's risen to his peak potential with good outcomes. I think people sometimes don't understand like the timelines for this. You can get lean, you can get a bit more attractive, you can do all that, and you can get your lays and you can get your layups and all that. That doesn't necessarily mean you've got a good quality dating life. It doesn't necessarily mean you're attracting quality women. It doesn't necessarily mean you're having the types of experiences that truly elevate your life experience. When men are bonded to really great partners, they experience reduction in like stress. They experience like true companionship and you know, a lot of deeper things happen. And of course, I'm on a journey with it still, but I've had my times where I've experienced that. And I will say that the honest truth that we need to say is that to get what you really seek in this life, right, it's going to push you to the absolute potential that you've got as a human being, right? And becoming a man mature enough to accept how the world works and to get the best outcomes he can. This is amazing. Why is it that in dating we see speaking truth as always being negative, when is it negative to look at politics and see the crazy shit that's happening? Is it negative to look at international relations and see the people living in poverty and the inequality in the world? Is that us talking about world issues negative? I don't fucking think so. It's just real. It's just raw. So why is it that when we talk about the real raw truths about dating, all of a sudden he's being negative? Because for some reason, society hasn't awoken to the crisis that we've got, and it's not ready to talk about it without pointing fingers yet. But that's okay. We're building our movement, and we're going to speak our truth. And today, D, I thank you for your time, because you certainly did speak your truth, and You've hit us with some powerful
Hey.
wisdom. We're going to wrap it up there, D, and we're going to let all the people know that if they want to go on this journey themselves and they're sick and tired of being stuck playing small, not getting the outcomes they want, and they're ready to really go internal, fix their deeper core issues that are keeping them stuck, then the CMU Masculinity Accelerator is a group that would welcome you with open arms, regardless of your situation. You can reach out to me and I'll listen and I'll hear. And if it's a problem that we can solve, then I'm going to make a recommendation.
Right.
All right, brothers. CMU, Ravi checking out. Thank you, D. Like, comment, and subscribe for more wisdom, and let's build this movement.
Salute.